Hello and welcome to episode 17 of our Timberborn Update 6 Wonders of Water playthrough here with the Iron Teeth faction, cycle 30, day 8. Last time we got most of our power solution on our new aqueduct all taken care of, with the exception of getting everything tied together right in the corner, which we will continue to do while I'm talking at you. And we more or less narrowed down our design for our big apartment complex, and it's going to be a variant of this design, a little bit wider to allow some stuff to get up to the top, and then we'll see what else we can fit in there. But today's episode, as I continue to attempt to recover from whatever it is that I got dragged into over the past couple weeks, some sort of respiratory thing, but I'm going to be time-lapsing a whole bunch of this. And we're going to do what we can, because, you know, the show must go on, but at the same time, I'm not trying to sit here dying and hacking into the microphone the whole time. So I hope you'll bear with me. Really, really appreciate the support, as always. So what we're going to be doing here is continuing to get this corner established, and then start the process of building. And we'll go and see how that looks when we're all finished. So you can see what we've done here is we have elevated our platforms one block above the pathway here, and by platforms I mean overhangs, because the swimming pools do have a clearance that we have to abide by. So we're going to let them build that structure here, take a little bit of time to get that situated, and then we'll begin in earnest. You also hopefully noticed I put ladders in all of the corners, and the reason that I did that, of course, is to make sure that we can have access from all four corners and get around the entire outside of the complex. That's going to be very important as we continue on with what we're doing, which you'll see as this build continues. What you've also seen here is that I neglected to remember that I had removed my foresters and my lumberjack flags, so I had to put those guys back in to get the wood harvesting again and plant replacements. But the plan is to just kind of let this go and fill up all of its different resources as it needs to. And then once that's taken care of, then move into the next phase, which will be actually building vertical. And I can already hear some of you commenting now, hey, you left a gap in the middle of your two banks of overhangs. And yes, that was on purpose. We're going to come in from the middle of the little pool here and build outward from there. Because we didn't need everything in the middle to work, I just needed a couple of overhangs on the very outside to go all the way across, because that's what the 3x3 barracks are going to attach to. So you'll see those get put in, and then you'll see everything else start to go vertical from there. Again, it's going to take a very, very long time because we don't have a huge supply of wood, but we are going to get it done. Like I said, this episode is going to be a whole lot of time lapses, so you'll see a whole bunch of clicking and then a whole bunch of sitting there and waiting as stuff gets built. Again, that's just what we're able to take care of. The show must go on, stuff must get built, and we must advance, because time waits for no man, and it waits for no beaver either. So we'll see on the other side of this one. And before we start actually building too much of this vertical tower, you'll also hopefully have noticed that I left a space open behind each of the large barracks, and that's so we can put some of those decoration area of effect things right behind the buildings, so that the entire stack can take advantage of them, and we won't have to worry about them ever again. So as you can see, the supply chain issues continue to plague us, and in fact, I had forgotten to have all of the stuff replaced, as you probably saw, but we are going to make it work. That's all you can do. Just wait for the wood to grow up enough to be cut down and used, and everything get built just as fast as it can. That's all we can do. So that's what we're going to be doing, and while they are working on that, I figured it was also worth discussing how we're going to get power into this apartment block so it can go up to mess with the, what are those things called? The wind tunnels or whatever. And as you might recall, we're going to have these giant water wheels along this entire back side of the map. So they have the nubs on the front side. All we got to do is build a little platform and have one of the nubs connect into the side of one of these buildings, and the entire tower will be powered. Horn section extra, but I digress. We'll get that all taken care of at some point during the construction of this thing, and then I can't promise it'll be this episode, but we will have power up at the very top of that tower, and we will have a wind tunnel, or 4 of them, and other stuff as we can find places to put them. At this point, we're going to deconstruct all of the housing on the other side of the map and move the beavers in. I have no idea if this voiceover is going to line up with the time-lapse at all, so apologies in advance. I literally never do this. This way, it's just the way things are panning out, so I can still make a video and we can get some good progress done. But we're going to move these guys over here and start the process of continuing to elevate the tower. You saw, hopefully, some of the various decorative things being put on the inside of the block, so to speak, so that all of the beavers will have access to the benefits 24/7, as long as they're in the house sleeping. And I think it carries over for enough of the day where it doesn't really matter. But we have enough left that we can still build on the outside or on the top when we're all said and done, but we should be able to have pretty much maximum well-being beavers at the very end of this, and hopefully that is what we're able to make happen. So, I'm about to start trying something you might think is a little bit insane, but I think is a pretty interesting idea. I'm going to put our food storage on these overhangs projecting away from the tower, kind of in an intermediate space where we can utilize them to hang these things off the side and not completely have them in line. If we really think it's terrible, then we can undo it, but I think it's going to be a fun, interesting, off-the-wall type of thing to do, and the height above our trees should allow it. Obviously, you'll see in the time-lapse if that is successful or not, but I think it's worth trying something new and interesting. Alright, and I'm going to bring us out of this time-lapse right now at the beginning of Cycle 32 and kind of give you an idea of what exactly we've accomplished so far. Yes, you did see me detonate the emergency spillway control here after the bad tide filled our thing up entirely to where it was overflowing here and illuminated a rather disturbing trend that we've... A couple of you kind of made a point of saying, hey, maybe this is something you want to take a look at. And, well, it was. So, unfortunately, we are going to have to get rid of this natural overhang here. And we're going to have to replace it with a regular one so we can get our additional edge of water flow taken care of. I will let the clean water course through here all the way, and we'll just take it from there. But in terms of how this is looking, and boy is it looking, let me tell you what, this is decidedly not a very beautiful thing, but I do think it still looks pretty cool. And one thing I didn't mention when I was talking during the time-lapse about doing this food storage here is that we can take our rooftop terraces and we can just build those things right on top of here. Maybe not that exact pattern, but you get the idea. You get what I'm going for here. Like, we have so much accessible space. Right now we have 54 extra beds. So at some point in the future, we can start ramping up our beaver production. And I want to add additional layers to this, but as you can see, the numbers for the logs are just not there. We have a lot of stuff that we still need to build. It was never going to be a super fast thing to get this done. And while I haven't been feeling great, I've decided that it would be best to try to focus on some time lapses today, so that is why this is a shorter episode. But I've been recording over an hour at this point. I don't know how long it's going to be after I do all these time-lapse edits and everything. But I just wanted to show you that we are actually making some good progress, and we do still have some time to address a couple of things before I've got to call it a day here. There was a couple of comments talking about how this setup really isn't ideal and how I need to fix it. And yes, I do think that is an accurate assessment, but I also feel like we've got some work to do to make this truly viable. We have to create the little stair-step thing here, which I think is going to require us taking this sluice away and then replacing it by moving this one right here. Now, what this is going to do is this will fit underneath this water wheel here. And I don't really know that there's that much of a benefit to doing this way, but what I am going to do is I am going to put a regular levee here on top of this to try and actually, no, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to move this guy here so that nothing can backflow Maybe we don't even need this to be here, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not entirely sure. For those of you curious, no, you cannot build sluices with the teeth, so to speak, hanging off the side of the map. There's no room for them. You can build them this way, but why would you? There's no reason to do that. So, for where we are now, I am going to just replace these with dams and have these be permanent overflow negotiation devices, I guess you could say. So that's what we're doing there. Probably we have room for something else like that over here. I did lower, at some point during the time-lapse, I'm not sure if you would have been able to see it, I did lower this to 0.95, and that seemed to work okay for keeping this area upstream from flooding. But it did have the side effect down here of having this be a problem. So, like I said, we're going to have to get rid of this overhang here, and I think, for the sake of what we're looking at, it's going to make the most sense to have this replaced with a 4x1, I say synthetic overhang, but I hope you can understand what I'm getting at here. So, I've got to be able to get up here, which is going to be a problem considering how expensive ladders have become to demolish this, and that's going to be, that's going to be a process, folks. So I think what's going to have to happen is, yeah, I'm just going to have to get rid of this. I'm just going to have to start building these. There's no way around it. That is going to take a while to construct. Fortunately, we do have these ladders here that can get torn down because we do not need them anymore. Get a little bit of that material back. I don't think there's anywhere else on the map that I've got these just chilling. I mean right here, but we're also going to use that at some point later. Yeah, so let's just, for the sake of our future beavers, let's super prioritize this. Get this taken care of. And then that, again, is going to go away. We'll replace it with a 4x1 overhang, and then we will have to, on the 4x1 overhang, put in some impermeable floors, which is why I started at the beginning of a clean cycle, because that is just going to be an absolute disaster if we did it any other way. So, things that we can go ahead and kind of clean up. Here, that can go away. That'll give us a little bit of resources back. I've got some food storage over here that is going to need to go away. I'll just mark all these as emptyable, and then these will disappear. We'll get some materials back for that. This industrial pile for logs does not need to be here. That can go away. We do have some trees and cut down, but honestly, they're one log a piece, so I haven't worried about them. We just got to keep on doing what we can be doing here. Empty the berries. I guess pretty much all of this stuff can just completely go away. Inventors, we already knew were not going to be a thing. All of this soon will be replaced with other stuff. Just making it work with what we can do. The well-being number is down considerably, but when this thing is finished being built, it's going to be higher than it's ever been, and it's going to be glorious. So we just kind of have to trust the process there. Yeah, we're just going to kind of be at the mercy of however many of these planks we can make to get this going. We do have this, like I said before, fully connected, and this is operating on slightly reduced intensity because of all the water coming off at the top. But, I mean, each one of these is still making, what, wow, 550? Really? That's more than it was supposed to be making. Yeah, okay. I guess the number continues to climb. We're approaching 9,000 HP, and this isn't even connected to anything yet. I haven't quite figured out how to do that yet, how I'm going to get stuff down, but the end goal is to have this entire perimeter generating power. And then, of course, hopefully you saw this straight power shaft here. This is going to get everything hooked into this, which will be very nice. And then, of course, once everything is built, we'll be able to take care of that. But, again, you hate it when I say it, but it's true. It takes time. It truly does. We have so much stuff to build and a very limited amount of resources to work with. So, that's just what it is. We'll go ahead and take these warehouses out, because those are empty. That's empty. This still isn't empty, but it should be there at some point soon. These are getting emptied, and again, the goal is to have all of the food that they're actually eating stored right next to where they're living, which is why I built this like this. We obviously are going to have to continue putting in other stuff and have good access in the corners with these ladders, but all that stuff will come in due time. We'll get it taken care of as best as we can. And okay, good. They did actually get this removed. Surprised they were able to do that from here with how that's set up, but I guess that's fine. We'll do our 4x1 overhang, and that'll give us 1, 2, 3 edges here. So it will come out a little bit further, but that's not going to be a problem, because this right here I'm going to fill in. This is no longer going to be water. We can use this as a growable space. I believe I discussed that in a previous video, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead, get this swimming pool out of here, and then since we have so much dirt, we might as well start the process of getting this thing all filled in. I know there's a certain amount of time that this is going to take that we probably don't really have, but you know, any amount of progress is going to be better than nothing. You know how it goes. Just got to do what you can do. So this just needs planks, which should not be a surprise to anyone. Hopefully they can get that done before the end of this cycle, because boy, would that be a disaster if it did not get finished. Do we have any more of these we can get rid of? No. Okay, so this is just going to have to stay for a little bit. It seems like our situation here continues to be about what it was. I do need to lower this, I guess, technically, but for right now this is probably fine. Hopefully this backflow proofs everything. It's just going to be one of those things we have to keep an eye on, because you know how it goes. But yeah, all things considered, I think we've gotten a pretty decent amount of stuff done. I want to make sure this gets finished. Let's go ahead and prioritize that. They're continuing to fill in the land here, kind of, as they're able. I suppose it's probably going to end up being one of those deals where we're just going to kind of have to take what we can get. It's going to flood a little bit, but that's fine. All of this land is probably going to get raised up another level anyway, to try and mitigate any possible flooding risk, and we can plant more trees, we can have more crops, all sorts of stuff. We haven't really had to worry about the crops because of how this has been doing reasonably well here. The berries are a non-issue currently, but as we have more of these pods, that is going to be something we have to keep track of. And we're still waiting. Still waiting on this to get finished. Like I said, there's so much that has to get done. But we are committed to making it happen, even if it is going to be a slow process. This overhang is just about done, and once that's finished, then these impermeable floors will be really, really quick. They should be building those pretty much instantly, just as soon as they come up here and start doing it. And then we should see this flooding go away. Yeah, and then, of course, at the very end of this, we'll have our final, our little jagged tooth here to try and get as much of this out of here as we possibly can. So hopefully that works. Power output for each of these just seems to be increasing, which is fun. But now this should actually be able to handle what we're putting through it, and that's exciting. This, of course, needs more planks, which are going to be an eternal problem. In the interest of what we're working on here, I am going to get rid of this stack of ladders so we can have those planks back. In time, we'll make that up. But this is looking really good. Really, really good. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm almost ready to get rid of this. I'm going to leave it here just in case I have a colossal, just complete lack of remembering anything for what I was trying to go to. But I think we can go ahead and start the process of putting the rest of this in, even if we just pause all these and don't let them use any resources, just so we have a blueprint ready to go. Yeah, so like I said, if I can remember how to put this in correctly. Come on. This is what we're working with. I'm going to have at least 2 layers of this. These are, again, paused. But by having this kind of offset like this, now I have the opportunity to make use of this space. I can either put in large tanks, which probably would be the smart thing to do, and figure out how we're going to orient all of our other stuff later. But if I put a tank here and a tank here, then I could have one of these rooftop terraces on either side. We could absolutely just completely stress out all of the structural engineers in the comments by having this just titanic quantity of mass cantilevered out from a single support. But that's fine. I will go ahead and get that situated there. Again, paused, because you know what's going to happen, but that's going to be water. Water there, and then I think there's going to be a way for me to maybe on the outside here. If I have one here and one here, first of all, make sure these are paused, just so we can play with this. Yeah, so if I put a rooftop terrace here and a rooftop terrace here, then I've got a little bit of space. Again, these are going to be paused. But right here, I can put in a couple of scratchers. And then, yes, we are going to have the opportunity, there we go, to do the forbidden 2x2 path, or I can just leave that open there. And in its place, we can put something like either a clock or a bell. All of these basic things are arranged in a little circular pattern here, so every single beaver that sleeps in this thing, no matter what, is going to get all of these benefits at the same time. So anything we put here would just kind of be extra. So maybe a lantern would be a nice thing. I seem to recall people specifically asked for those to be included, and I just hadn't done it yet. So that's what we're looking at there. Do the same kind of thing here. Again, pause these because they take a lot of logs. And then just, you know, general enrichment stuff like the scratchers. A very, very good thing to put up here. I know I do have 2 there. We have this one lantern, but I don't have lanterns anywhere else. I think this is probably fine because, you know, these do put off some light. That's going to work. And it's symmetrical, which I always appreciate. And I know many of you do as well. So just get those things paused. I guess I have to pause these too, since we're in that pausing kind of mood. But I do want to make sure that we are set up for success here whenever the extra materials do become available. So, again, that's part of the reason why I did this way, was to have this be kind of an all-in-one, super inclusive beaver resort, if you will. So that's what they're working with. Obviously, we have to put in another level of these platforms to be able to get up here, and that's going to require, of course, our ladders in the corners to come up as well. And again, all of this stuff is just going to take some time. So that's what we're working with. I guess I can continue, since I still am presently able to continue talking. Probably not for long, but we'll get this as situated as we can, and then fill in as much of this as we can. You know the drill. Do what you can with what you have. And that's what I have right now. So, get this taken care of. Just as long as we can all understand that this is not going to be an instant thing. Not going to be an instant process, but it is going to get taken care of. That should be fine. Now these, I've got water in. I'm going to have, you know, I guess, honestly, I don't need twice as much. I don't need the same amount of coffee as I do water. But I think the amount of pumping we have going on is going to be fine. So I'm going to make both of these coffee, because why not? And I think to do what we want to do here with these wind tunnels, I'm going to need to have a third layer of these things, which I do not have to pause, by the way, because they can't build this until what's underneath is constructed. And then on top of that, I am like 90% sure that this is going to allow me to do this mess right here. So the reason why we added this one in the middle versus this is because I can take a vertical power shaft and I can do this right here. And then what I can do as a result of that is I can either choose to do a downward power shaft going this way, or probably the better way to do it, if we're being perfectly honest with ourselves, is to put this here, put that there, and then we put in a platform like this, and then put on top of that a power shaft intersection, because then that's going to go in the side of the wind tunnel, which of course is going to come out this way. So that's what we're looking at by the time this is actually all finished, taken care of. We of course don't have to do it exactly this way, and if we want to do things like the mud baths, then we probably are going to have to raise these even more. So let me kind of demonstrate what we're working with here by doing that on this side. If I were to just put another thing underneath these, I'm pretty sure this is going to work, but we'll give it a little bit of a shot anyway. I've got space directly in the middle here, and yeah, it does seem like it's going to let me do that. It's going to look kind of stupid, but hey, you know, if it's stupid and it works, well, it's still stupid, but it works, you know? You feel me? So if I did that right there, then, you know, you're sitting in your hot tub, you're kind of bumping up against the ceiling there, but you're going to have access to that need, and we'll be able to put the rest of these, especially since we have these rooftop terraces available over here. We do have the option of putting additional mud baths up top, and they would conduct power because they'd be on top of this whole thing that is by itself conducting power. So again, I think that's what we're going to be working with here. I'll just go ahead and get these 4 in so you can kind of see what we're going for. Remove these platforms so we can actually see. And yeah, that's what we're working with, folks. We're just going to be putting in this vertical power shaft here, right there, and then this bit here is going to end up, oh, you know what? Oh, now I can't see anything. This actually has to go up one more. One more because of how we redid this. So this is now going to be a 2, and then like that. So seeing that, now I can come back in. I can put that in place, and then pop this in, right like so. And there you go. So that's what we're working with. And my body's decided that it's time for me to finish recording this episode. So, unfortunately, but we did get a lot of really great stuff done. And I think this is a winning design right here. We can get everything else put back in as it has to be. We'll figure that out. But I will go ahead and remove this while we're doing the rest of what we're supposed to be working on here. I appreciate you guys being here. Seriously, the amount of support that these videos have gotten has been absolutely tremendous. Absolutely could not do it without your help. So I am very thankful for you, beard boosters or otherwise. You see your names on the screen. You're making tremendous difference, and I truly mean it. This channel would not be able to do what we are able to do without the undying support of everybody on that list, and a lot of people not on that list. So just always remember that you're important, you matter, and I am so glad that you're part of this community. Even if you're not on the list, well, definitely if you're on the list, but even if you're not, just you being here is enough, and the ability to grow the community and just enjoy conversing with each other and getting to escape the hectic nonsense and sometimes really, really painful stuff in real life. Just playing some good games and enjoying what brings us together. That's very important to me, and I hope it's important to you too. So, all that being said, that is truly as much as I can manage to do today. Sorry it's not a longer video, sorry we didn't get more done, but you know what they say, the show must go on, rain or shine. We'll see you later, friends. Take care. Bye-bye.